Today we're going to look at Sage's best-in-class approach to estimating and takeoff. We're also going to look at eTakeoff and dimension and bridge, and also in Sage Estimating version 18.12, the latest and greatest there. So next generation, what is it? That's our strategy for estimating these days. And so with that in mind, what you're doing if you're taking off information, getting information, you're getting it from plans or from a model. And so if you do that, what we're going to do is we're going to get that information into best-in-class solutions. Navisworks are assembled for a model, eTakeoff dimension for a 2D set of plans. And so we're going to use one of those best-in-class solutions to get the information out of the model or the drawing, and we're going to bring it into Bridge. Bridge is that final piece. It's one single program, very simple, that you'll see later on, and it bridges the gap between the best-in-class solutions and Sage Estimating. And so you can see all the arrows are flowing there from the model and the drawing set through Bridge and into Sage Estimating, but they also flow back the other way. And so I'll show you this bidirectional data flow, both into the estimate and then from the estimate back to the takeoff source, and the drill down capability that we have there, so you can see how that works as well. So that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at this workflow today. We're not looking at 3D, just 2D. And so we'll look at dimension and bridge and estimating, and we'll see how that all works. So with that in mind, let's go here from the PowerPoint to the actual software. And here we are in eTakeoff dimension. So obviously in the middle, plan set. Over here on the bottom left, I've got my plan set sheets, all the different sheets that compose my plan set for this La Quinta Inn and Suites. And up here above it, I've got traces. These are all both contained in control panels. So on the left, I've got control panel number 1, and over here on the right, I've got control panel number 2. You can do whatever you want with these control panels. You can add and delete, or not display, excuse me, different types of controls. So I've got a layer list and traces. Over here, I've got favorites and breakdowns and quantity lists and things. And it's real easy to add them. You just click that little down arrow, and I can say, show me the filtering. And so now I see the filtering. If I don't want to see filtering, I can turn it back off. So lots of options for that. You can dock these control panels on other monitors. You can do anything you want to with them. But the idea is you've got a lot of flexibility here. Down here in the lower left is my drawing set. One of the things I did want to show you is that it is really easy to create a drawing, create a project. And so I've got Windows Explorer over here, and I've got all my eTakeoff projects in a folder here, and you can see those right here. And what I want to do is create another project. And so what I'm going to do here, just in Windows Explorer, real easy, is I'm just going to create a new folder, and like that, and I'm going to call it La Quinta Architectural. Click Enter. I've got a folder here, obviously empty, nothing in it. If I go here to my desktop, I've got some architectural drawings that I might have downloaded from Dropbox or the owner's website or whatever. And so now I can just take these, and these are PDFs, and I can just take these like this and copy them. I can go back here to my architectural folder. There I am in the La Quinta architectural folder, and I can paste them. And so that's as easy as it is. I've got all my drawings in there. Now what I need to do is back here. Now once I've created the folder, put the drawings in the folder, now here in eTakeoff, what I'm going to do is create a new project up here in the upper left corner. And I want it to be this La Quinta Architectural. Click OK. These are all optional fields. Don't need to create them, but I can if I want. OK. It says, do you want to include all these files in the project? Yes, I do. Click Add. And I've created a new project. I'm ready to do takeoff. you can see how quick it is. There's no drawing conversion. There's no translation. I just bring the PDFs in, create a folder, bring the PDFs in, create a quick project like I did up here, and I'm ready to go. And so it's really quick that way. You saw me bring in different files for each individual sheet. It works that way. It works with one file with a bunch of sheets in it. Either way, so you're good to go. Whichever you get from the from your supplier of drawings. So back here, I'm going to switch back to that original project that I was in, which is this one right here. And I've got some, you can see anything that is bold down here in the drawing list has something done to it. So here on the site plan, I've got measurements taken. I've got a measurement summary down here at the bottom. It says I've got some asphalt paving and some concrete curb and some slab on grades for the sidewalk. Tells me the area that I've got taken off for each one of those. These were all created, these measurements were all created using traces. And traces are right here in the trace list over here on the left. And this trace, the asphalt paving trace, was created using this trace right here, this asphalt paving with base. And so what I did is I just double clicked on this and I just started creating an area. I'll just create a bogus one up here in the corner. And that's all really I had to do to create it, to start doing takeoff. And what you can see too is once I've done takeoff, I'm going to go ahead and delete that one just so that it keeps our presentation clean here this morning. If I click on this, over here on the right, you'll see a couple things. You'll see in the quantity list, you'll see different responses over here, the paving thickness, the asphalt base depth, and the mix code. And these are responses that are asked by a Sage assembly. So these are the variables from a Sage assembly: paving thickness, base depth, and mix code. This is the really integrated, tight integration between estimating and takeoff. And so we're able to enter in specification and detail related information here while we're doing takeoff. We're not flipping back and forth between takeoff and the estimate, takeoff and the estimate. We're doing a lot of the work right here in takeoff. Not only can I enter in assembly information, I can also enter in WBS information, work breakdown structures. So what other kinds of information do I want to collect about an object before I send it over to estimating? Is it a base bid or an alternate? Who's the estimator? Where is it located? Which floor? Is it what system is it? And so I can enter not only the assembly information, but also the work breakdown information here as well. So I'm able to do that here during takeoff. Same thing with the sidewalks here, just different, obviously a different assembly, different kinds of questions for sidewalk versus asphalt paving. And so I've got that information here that I've entered, as well as different WBS information as well. Let's go to the first floor, show you some other stuff here. So I've got two kinds of walls here. And if I zoom out, there's the wall types, interior and exterior. And again, all I did to start doing those traces was just go here to the finishes, and I've got the two different traces right here that I can just double click on those and start going. Wanted to show you how easy it is to create a trace, because that's really where takeoff starts. And so I got the different kinds of traces up here at the top: area, count, length, and perimeter. And so if I double click on the area, I see this. This is a simple trace creation window. So I can just say epoxy floor coating for use around the pool right here in the middle. And so what do I want that trace to look like? That's all this is asking right here in the middle. What do I want it to look like? And so I can just say, well, is it a solid line? Sure. And let's make it orange today. And what's the fill look like? And I'll say, you know what? I like diagonal cross, and I'll go with orange again just to keep it consistent. This is what it's going to look like. Yeah, the interior cross is a little light there, so I'm going to make it a little darker like that. Back it off. There we go. Do I want to save it as a standard trace, this checkbox right here? If I do, then I will see it over here in my trace list, and then I can use it again and again and again. So I only need to create these things once. And I'm going to click OK. And there's epoxy floor coating in my trace list. Now I can double click on that, and I can zoom in here, use the mouse wheel, and I can just start doing traces. I'm going from corner to corner, and just like this, and like this. You'll do a better job. I can zoom in real tight here and get nice and accurate, and I can come in over here and do that as well, and then I can finish it off. All right, there we go. So there's my area. You see over here, it's 1,919 square feet. Well, obviously, I need to remove the pool, since pools don't normally get epoxy floor coating on them. How do I do that? Well, if I just started clicking in here, that wouldn't work. That doesn't make any sense. It obviously doesn't look right. What I can do is come up here to disconnected point, and I can click that. Now, you'll notice when I did the pool outside, I went clockwise. To do the pool donut, or the interior part, I'm going to go counterclockwise. And so I'm going to, there we go. I'll go right here and here and here. Click the C key to make a nice arc. And there, C key, there, C key, there, and there, C key. All right, so that's how I can take that donut out of the middle. You'll now notice I have about 1,320 square feet, give or take. Press enter. I'm going to hit the D key, and it says epoxy floor coating. I'm just going to say pool deck. So now this says pool deck over here, so I have a description of what that area is, and I know I'm good to go for the epoxy floor coating. I can come back here, do it a little bit once more, and I can say, I'm going to use this 2-point rectangle button up here. And so I'm going to say that I'm going to do here, there, and there to there. Enter. D key for another description. I'll just call it mechanical rooms. And I've got mechanical rooms and pool deck over here. All right, so that's how easy it is to create a trace. Not too tough at all. You're quick, and again, you're good to go. Once you create that trace, you're good to go forever for this project, the next project after that, and you can even share these traces with others in your company. Let's go to the second floor. Here we are. I got all kinds of flooring on the second floor. Make this window a little different. Up here, I've got layers. And so you can see, when you look at this list here, I've got different kinds of resinous flooring and different types of carpet and quarry and resilient tile, and then some bases down here. If I don't want to see something, I can start to turn layers on and off. So I've got tile base and rubber base. I don't care about the bases right now. Or I just want to see, just show me the carpet. There's the carpet. So I can turn layers on and off. What I've got here is just flooring, but if you've got a complicated floor plan where you're doing flooring and walls and doors and windows and all these different kinds of things that are on the floor plan, then you can start to simplify it, make it a little easier for your use as you're going through that drawing. I'm going to turn off the carpet, and I am going to turn on the quarry tile. And so if I zoom in here, you see you've got quarry tile here in the bathrooms. And if I go over here to my WBS work breakdowns, you can see that this is an alternate. So I'm able to define and work with alternates here during takeoff. If I take and turn off the quarry tile layer and turn on the resilient tile layer, you'll see that I've got, this is alternate number 1. And so I can work with those here as well as I'm doing different kinds of takeoff. And I can work with alternates. Let's look at one other thing here. So I've got the third floor here. You notice the third floor is not bold like the first or second floor. That means that's because there's no takeoff done on it. Well, as you can see, the third floor is an exact copy of the second floor. What I want to do is I don't want to have to redo all this takeoff, pain in the neck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these like this using this multi-select button up here. And I'm going to drag all of this over here to my favorites. I've got project favorites and global favorites. This is a project favorite since I'm going to just use it for this project. And now I can go to the third floor plan and I can take this favorite here and I can drag it back and put it on the top just like that. And I've just done my takeoff. Not quite done yet though. I'm going to come up here to multi-select and select all of these. This says it's on the second floor. Well, that's not right. I want it to be on the third floor. Now I've assigned that WBS code for floor. Now I'm done. So again, really simple to create and copy measurements from in my case, from one drawing to another. You can do it from one part of a single drawing to another, whatever you wanted to do. You can even use global favorites to copy it from one project to another. So favorites are very handy and make your takeoff much quicker than just doing it all manually. The roof plan's got some areas here. I've got different, not only the areas, but I've got a slope factor in here. This is just a very simple roofing assembly that I'm using for this. Let's scroll down here to my drawing list. I've got elevations with some takeoff done. I've got, let's go down here to the foundation plan. So here I've got some, you can see I've got the foundation, I've got some footing, grade beams, and in the interior slabs, all of these cyan colored objects here. And so I've also got one other thing, and that's these caissons, these dashed circles. I can use a feature in eTakeoff called pattern search, and I can search for, have eTakeoff search for all these rather than searching for them manually myself. So I can go up here to the drawing, and I'm going to say I want to show the search area. This is where I'm going to search. I don't want it to search outside that area because I only want it to search the drawing. I don't want it to search a legend or a schedule or whatever that way. I just want it to search the drawing. So that's why I've set up a search area, excuse me, right here. And I called it, you can see up here in the corner, I've called it S1, excuse me, S1.1, which is just the sheet name. Number. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I've set the search area. I'm going to turn that off just because it's kind of obnoxious. And I want to start the pattern search. So I'm going to start it, and my cursor changes. See how it's got that little box next to it there. Zoom in nice and tight here. And I am going to draw a box around the caisson. And so I'm going to do it kind of backwards here. I'm going to say this is what it's going to search for, is that dashed circle. Where do I want it to search? Well, I want to search in that search area, S1.1. And what is it? It's not epoxy floor coating. It is a caisson. And so I've got a caisson trace here, and it's here, and it's under concrete, and there's my caisson right there. So what I'm searching for, where I'm searching, and what is it? When let's see, I'm going to leave that way. I'm going to click the search button, and it is going to go down here. And here's my pattern search. It's going to go out and find a bunch of all the caissons that are there. And it found 244 of them. See how fast it found them. I'm going to zoom out here, and I'm going to double click on the binoculars. And here's all the caissons that it found. The green ones are the ones that it says are good to go. These are the white ones. It's got questions on them. What I'm going to do is go ahead and select all of these. I'm going to just hold down my shift key, select that one, hold down my shift key, select that one, and select all of them. And then I'm going to review them on the drawing. Click that one, and here's all of the caissons that it found. Great. So I can go through and look at these and see if they're right or wrong. I'm going to say that these four for the portico share are a little different. Maybe they're not as deep. So I'm going to double click on that one, and that one, that one, and that one. And now I'm ready to go. And so I'm going to go here to this resume again. And you can see it removed those four from my selection. If I look over here, I'm going to say, I'm going to save and continue. And I leave these 4, and I'm going to save those. Now you'll look here, and well, okay, so I've got these here. If I click on this measurement, it says this got a red E right here. That tells me I've got something missing. If I look over here in the assembly list, it says I need a depth. So I'm going to say that I need, the depth is 30 feet. That goes to blue, and I'm ready to go. Okay, so I counted all of those pretty quickly, got them in my list over here, and I'm ready to go with that. So pattern search. Pattern search is very, very powerful. A lot of people like it for electrical. And so here's an electrical plan where all of these different electrical symbols for lights and switches and such were found using pattern search. So there's a 409 light here in the hallway. There's the pool light type H, and here's another can light here in the meeting room type N. And so I found all those using pattern search as well. Down here at the bottom, I've got the interior elevations, show you a couple features here. First off, you'll notice that the elevations out here in the main part of the sheet are 1/2 inch equals a foot. And you'll see that this typical room is 1/4 inch equals a foot. So I can have, what I wanted to show you here is I can have multiple scales on one drawing. I don't need to recreate a drawing, copy it, set a different scale and on like that. I can just have multiple scales on the same drawing. Everything within this blue box is, I would take off at 1/4 inch equals a foot. Everything in this box, I'd take off at 6 inch equals a foot. And everything else would be taken off at 1/2 inch equals a foot. And that is set here on the home tab. Here's my scale for the whole drawing. So options there. Also, I've got a change here, and so I know that there's an update. I can go here to the drawing, and I can compare this to a new drawing. So I click here, and it is that one. I can click Add, and the drawing that I want to compare to is this addenda drawing here. I can align, click the Align button. The reason it says Align is that I can, sometimes I'll get a drawing in and it won't be just perfectly the same, right? It will be twisted a little bit or be a little bit out of scale or whatever that way. And so I can move it, I can rotate it, or I can scale it, or I can align it. And that's what this window allows me to do. Click OK and it brings it in. And so here's the changes. It highlights the differences for me. And so I can right click here and I can say, show me, emphasize just the new stuff. And the blue is emphasized and the red's still there. It's just not as intense a color. And then I can come back, show the old and the new. So it's going to help me find changes. I come over here and I say, whoa, look, there's some changes there. And I can come back here to the home tab, select this, and I can edit these points. And I can start saying, I can take that and move it over there. Actually, the blue is the new, so we'll just leave it like that. And I can change this to be what I want it to be to match the new takeoff, or the new drawing. So I've got multiple scales in the same drawings. I've got drawing compares that I can compare two different drawings, one to the other. All right, so for today's demo, that's going to be the extent of my takeoff. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch to Sage Estimating. But to do that, what I'm going to do is take all my takeoff here in eTakeoff dimension, and I'm going to bring it into Bridge, and from Bridge into the estimate. Remember, Bridge was that piece down at the bottom of the PowerPoint diagram. That's what bridges everything into estimating. So to do that, I need to start Bridge, and I'm going to click the View button up here, and I'm going to start Bridge. And it's going to get, obviously, started. And it's going to bring it up, and it's going to say there are no bridges associated with this project. Do I want to create one? I'm going to say yes. And it's going to say, here you go, give it a name. So La Quinta. And I can say, I've got lots of options here, but I can create a new estimate in Sage Estimating from within Bridge. So I'm going to click this Add New button. Same name. I can pick the database. I can pick the branch where I want it stored. All of that here within Bridge. And I click OK. And I've created a new estimate, and I've launched Bridge. Okay, so here's Bridge. As you can see, it's pretty simple. There's not a lot to it. I've got these 3 tabs up here in the top. The file is pretty basic. Home and settings is really simple. This is where I do 99% of what I'm doing here in Bridge. What it is displaying here in the resources pane are the assemblies in my Sage database. When I created this estimate, I said use the extended commercial GC database. These are all the assemblies in that commercial GC database. Here's my concrete assemblies in that database. And I can also look at, if I want to look at the assemblies, that's good. Or I can look at items. Here's my item list for the extended commercial GC database, doors and windows, and here's wood doors. So here's all my wood door items in that Sage database. Okay, that's great. You may be wondering, why do I care? Why do I want the resources? Why do I want the assemblies or items listed here in Bridge? We want those because what we want to do is map things, map measurements from the estimate to Bridge. So let's go back here. Remember the first floor, we created that trace for the epoxy floor coating. If I make things, here it is here, the pool with those other rooms. What I need to do, and this is only a one-time thing, I need to map that. I need to say, well, this trace is great, but where does it go over here? Which assembly or item does that tie to or map to? And so I can come here to finishes, and I've got an epoxy floor coating assembly here in my database. What I do is I take and highlight this measurement in dimension, and I drag it to that assembly in Bridge. And I do that, and I get this over here. So here in the middle is epoxy floor coating. That's the name of the assembly in Sage Estimating. And this is it's a very simple assembly, as you can see, only one variable or one question that's just square feet of coating. No things like different types of coatings or anything like that. The assembly is just very simple. Over here on the right, I've got information that's available from Takeoff. And so I've got you can see the area here, 1319.85. What I need to do is take this and map it. And I'm drag it and drop it like that. Now these two are mapped, area and area. I can also map different things like the drawing description goes down here to the location. I can map the estimator, Jud, and I can map so I can map WBS information down here in the estimate detail window, and I can map measurement or detail information up here in this window here. When I'm done, I can run the pass. Just so you're familiar with estimating, you understand running a pass. By clicking this button, I'll watch the quantity window down here at the bottom. If I click this, now I have the area, and now I can say, send it to the estimate. And I've got that measurement is now sent to the estimate. So I can come over here. What I'm going to do is drag this over to another monitor real quick, and I can hide assigned. This button here says, anytime I send a measurement to the estimate, hide it. And for some reason, that's not going away. So we'll see how that works going forward here. So that's how you can map measurements to assemblies or items. Very simple. And again, this only, just like I created that trace once, I only need to do the mapping once. It's once mapped, always mapped. You're good to go forever. And so we get things going there, and then you're good to go for this project, the next project, the project next week, next month. You're good to share those mappings with other people in your company. And so you're good to go no matter what. Also, notice that I didn't have to cut, copy, or paste anything. I just did the mapping, and I'm sending things to the estimate. So let's go here to the automatic button here. That was manual takeoff. That's where I'm dragging things manually I'm dragging measurements manually from the drawing to an assembly. I can also set up things automatically. And so here's all of my automatic takeoff. There's the paving from the site plan and the curb, and there's the caissons, and there's the footing from the structural drawings. Here's all those interior slabs from the structural drawings, and there's the site sidewalks and other things. So you can see I've got all of these measurements that I've taken on this set of drawings, and I've set them to automatic. That means that I've been through them 100 times. I know what they do. They're good to go. I don't really need to look at each one of them. I just want to get them over to the estimate. And so I can set all of these to fully automatic, and I click this button, and it's going to send over 110 measurements or assignments from the takeoff to the estimate. And so there it goes. 110 measurements have been sent over successfully. So now what I can do is I'm done with bridge. I can go to the estimate, and I can go over there. And again, notice no cut, copy, paste. Just nice and neat and clean and tidy and easy and fast. So here we are in Sage Estimating. This is 1812. If you're on Pervasive, an older version of estimating, this will look a little different. If you are on version, say 17 of Sage, this is the sequel version of estimating, and so this may look fairly familiar to you. Want to just give you a quick overview of what's going on here in Sage Estimating as well. So we've got the usual stuff here with the grid, with the columns and the rows. We've got the look and feel of things may be a bit different for you. We've got totals, information, settings, and details up here at the top. Spreadsheet display is a big deal. I'll show you that here in a few minutes. The actions here. I can collapse this down. I've got all of these here, so I can collapse it down to just, I've got group phase, and item. Now I just have group phase, and then I can have just group phase, and I can have a summary of it. I can expand it back up. I can combine items. So this fine grade here, I can combine those, and I'll see just one line for fine grade. I can expand that back out. Lots of options for that. What I want to do though here is with the spreadsheet display. We've got layouts and sequences. You're probably familiar with those. Layouts are the columns. What do those what columns do I see? What order are they in? What did they look like? And then sequences are the rows. How am I grouping it? What do I want to see? Different kinds of detail. And so I've got layouts and sequences. You can see that I've got a labor productivity layout showing here. I can say, well, I want to see a materials. And so with this sequence, this phase item sequence, I can see different types of column organizations. There's, let's see, there's an input one. And I've got a kind of a mess here with some of these. There's my totals, just labor hours and material and totals. So I can have these, what's unique here and what's new is that the sequences and layouts are not tied together. They are independent of each other. And so I don't need to, before I used to say, well, if I want a layout for a particular sequence, I need to create it. And then if I want the same layout in a different sequence, I need to recreate it. Now I don't need to do that. So that's layouts. We'll look at that in more detail in just a sec here. But now I've got sequences. So down here in the bottom, I've got all these colored tabs. Those are my sequences. How do I want the rows grouped? And so I've got these different sequences. You'll see that they're color-coded. That's just my way of doing it. You can color-code them any way you want. I've got them all my assembly ones are dark green, and then the floors are this bright green, and then the locations are this cyan, and alternates are red. Just my way of doing things. You can do whatever you want. Obviously, so if I can click here to assembly, Now I've got this, and then I have this assembly layout for it. I can also have an assembly with color. And so now I've got colored assembly, and it took away the grid lines just to show you the flexibility that we have. Maybe kind of wild and crazy, but maybe you want all your labor columns to always be blue, or your materials to be green, subs yellow, equipment pink, and all of that. That would, that's one way to quickly get an idea of where things are and what's going on with them. So might make some sense to have some color in there, never know. And back to the assembly, a little more traditional view here. And so my combined assembly, and here's a floor. So here's my floors, and so I've got it grouped by first floor, and all the items with that. And so I've got all those structural slabs. Let's go down here to, there's the second floor and the third floor. Lots of things there, but what I want to do is just collapse that down, and now I can just see it down. There's my first floor, second floor, and third floor. Kind of handy to have. And these are unassigned to a floor because these are part of the, let's see, these are all part of that resinous. There's the epoxy floor coating, the resinous floor coating, different areas there. If I wanted to take the caissons and move them, let's just take all of these. These are all part of the first floor like that. I can take these and I can just drag them and drop them down to there. And now I've kind of cleaned up my estimate a little bit just by dragging and dropping. There's also a move up here. Once I click here, then I can start to move different items as well. And so I can move items from one place to another, especially if I go over here. Let me go over here to a different sequence where I've got estimator. Everything's sorted by estimator. So now I can say, well, I'm going to take these, and I just want to take these couple here down to the caisson, and I am going to move those. And I'm going to say, well, the estimator is unassigned right now. I want to give them to Mark. Select that. Okay. And now those have been assigned to Mark. I can still do the drag and drop. If I want to do this, I can just drag those down to JD. Okay, so I've cleaned up my estimate. I can do that. I can move things. I can copy things from one sequence to another. Real easy to do that. Creating sequences is pretty easy. I'm going to come in here and show you here, but I'm going to do something here. I'm going to remove that one first. And then I'm going to come back in and create another one. And I'm going to create one that's a job cost code. So I'm going to kind of work backwards here. I'm going to click the ellipsis here. And I want it to be job cost phase. I want to use these and phase. So these are my selected fields. I'm going to click OK. I can assign a color. You can see the color of the tab down here. What do I want it to be? Well, you know what? These are accountants. So I'm going to make it a nice, we'll make it fuchsia today. And I can give it JC phase. Okay, so I can give it a name. I can move it up or down the list. I can assign it as a default. For when I create an estimate, I always see these sequences. I'm going to click OK. And now here's my JC phase down here, my JC phase sequence. If I click this one, now I'm going to see, and I need to select a layout that has job cost phase. Well, I don't see one, so I'm going to just insert the job cost phase. Job cost, there it is. And I'm going to select that one right there. Click OK. And here's my job cost phase now in this layout. So that's good. There's some that have multiple. I can collapse this down. There's my nice, simple, more simple job cost phases. And so you can see up here that says, oh, the default layout has changed. Well, I can save that, and my default layout now includes the job cost phase column. I can save it as a new name, and I've got a new layout created, or I can edit the existing one. I'm just going to save this one. My default layout now contains job cost phase over here in the leftmost column. All right, So there's lots you can do to the spreadsheet, obviously. Let's keep going here. If I go to the estimate information, I created the estimate from Bridge, so I didn't get a chance to fill this out when I was creating the estimate, the information screen. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put the job size in here, 50,000. There we go. Square feet down here, like this. And I'm going to click OK. I'm going to do that because what I want to do here on the totals page, and I've got the totals here. I've got it in this quick access toolbar. Same button, two different places. One's quicker to get to. So here's my totals. And because I entered in that 50,000 square feet, it says I'm going to do this job for $18.78 a square foot. Not a bad price. So what I want to do is, I wondered if this scenario has ever happened to you, where you're sitting there and you're getting the estimate just dialed in just right. It's and half an hour before the bid, and the boss comes in and says, "Oh, what are you at?" "Well, we're at $18.78 a square foot." He says, "Oh boy, market says today that we need to be at $17.50 a square foot." Okay, so you enter in $17.50. Sorry, 17.50. There we go. All right, $17.50 a square foot. I need to find $63,898 in the estimate to meet that goal. Okay, so how do I do that? Well, I can come in here to the, let's see, I don't have any, let's go back here to a different sequence. I'm going to go back here to the phase item sequence, and I'm going to work with my labor. So I'm going to say, well, I've got this excavation here. I'm going to take these items. Yes, I'm going to say the totals. I'm going to take these items, and I'm going to, this one. I'm going to adjust the column. And so what I want to do, I'm going to take that column down minus 5%. Okay, that adjusts that. I have new numbers in here. I now need to find $61,617. This red caret says, oh, you've adjusted it down. The original was $2,040. So I can go here and play with this all I want to adjust this and meet this goal that I have. I can also come over here to the total, and I can do the same darn thing, and I can just say spread $61,000 over the estimate. Click OK, and it's going to adjust my estimate, and now I am within $3 of my goal. I can see that I had to adjust that down 6.58%. So I can quickly adjust my totals for this estimate. I can also come back here and say, you know what, you're crazy. I'm never going to be able to do that. So I'm going to undo the adjustment. Click OK. And I am back to $18.78 a square foot. All right. So I can come in here and I can clear the variance. And I'm back to where I started from. One more thing to show you here is alternates. We're now able, with several versions ago, we're able to work with alternates directly in the estimate. If I click this button here, I'm going to save the changes to the totals, and I can see my alternates here. What I need to do is enter alternate status, though. I need to what do I want to do with these alternates? So status. I'm going to click this add button here, and I'm going to say included. And I do want to include that in my estimate. So click enter. We click another one. I'm going to say not, or I will just say excluded. That is not included in my estimate. I click OK. And I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to go to my summary tab up here for the alternates. All right, so I've got the resilient tile, the quarry tile, and the base bid. I need to select the status. That's the first thing I need to do here. So I'm going to click this one and say that the base bid is included. The quarry tile is included, and the resilient tile is excluded. It goes away. Now I've got $6.99 plus, and I've got some that are unassigned to an alternate. So that's not good. Let's go out here and let's group it by alternate. So let's look at the alternate sequence, and I need to see. Oh, do I have alternates here? I need to see the alternate. So let's just insert the alternate column and alternate overline. Okay, there's my alternates. So here's the problem. I've got all these that are unassigned. So I'm just going to take these like this, and I'm going to move them down here to the base bid. So now I've got quarry tile, base bid, and okay. So you notice we're not seeing alternate number 1. That could be a problem, except it's not. It just says show excluded alternates. We excluded alternate number 1, which was the resilient tile. If I click on this button, now I'm going to see resilient alternate number 1, and it has this formatting because that's what I said I wanted to see for an excluded alternate. Now, if I go back here to my summary, alternate summary, I can see that I don't have that, not the unassigned column here, but I do have 901 plus the 23 is 924, and this is not included. So if I was to say, you know what, go ahead and include that one and exclude that one. Now I've got this kind of a number going. So I can play with my alternates here if I want to. If you do have an older version of SQL, I really would recommend upgrading to the current version because of there are some bugs that were fixed in alternates. And so please do upgrade to 1812 if you work with alternates. All right, so I'm going to close that. We've got different tabs up here at the top. There's the home tab we've been spending some time on. We've got the takeoff tab. Same functionality we've seen before, just different icons. Item and assembly takeoff, model takeoff, and the one-time and quick takeoff. Reports are very similar as well. Data looks different, but the idea is still the same behind them. We've got the elements, the different parts of your database, and the other things here as well. And then the advanced here, as we've shown you, as well as the export to job cost, whether you have 100 or 300, you can export, or another system, you can export this estimate to job cost really easily. Or you could use a sequence to export it as well. One of the things, if you're exporting to a report, you can export this spreadsheet to a report. You can create a report from the spreadsheet, and as you export it, you can export it to Excel, and it will include some of the formulas in the spreadsheet that the spreadsheet uses to calculate in that export to Excel. I'm not going to do that here. I want to got some other things to show you first, but do know that if you create a report and export it to Excel, there's the export button right there. It just takes a while for it to do it. It will export some of the formulas. Not all of them, but some of them. All right, so I want to show you one other thing here real quickly. Phase item, and I want to go back here to, let's go to the input column. All right, so I've got this phase item sequence and input layout. You'll notice that I have these blue carets here in these, or actually what I want to do is assembly view. Here we go. I've got these blue carets here in the takeoff quantity. You recall when we first started here this morning, that diagram showed the arrows from the takeoff source down through the dimension into bridge and into the estimate. Then there was the arrows going back from the estimate back to the takeoff source. That's what I want to show you now. This blue little caret here in the corner indicates that this item was not created in Sage Estimating. It was created in eTakeoff. And so if I was to really quickly here review this assembly, you'll see I have one pass through the assembly. I'm going to close this Now what we're going to do is go back here and we're going to say, you know what? I want to see where this number came from. Right click, drill down to bridge. So imagine you've got the job, the PM comes in and says, hey, where'd that number come from? Open up the estimate, right click on the number, and you're here. So very quick, 6 months from now, you don't have to recreate anything. You're good to go. What this shows me, a couple things here. Number one, it shows me the numbers that I entered here, kind of the detail or spec-related information. How deep is the paving? What's the base depth? What mix code and this information. In addition, it shows me the measurement. So here's the measurement that quantity was generated from. Okay, so very quick to show you where that came from. Again, no cut, copy, paste, no fumbling with anything. I'm just right here. Now, let's say, for example, too, that the reason the PM came in and wanted to know was because this number needs to change. They want to expand this asphalt out here. So go here to the home, select this measurement, this trace, go here to the home tab, and I'm going to edit the points. And I'm just going to take this one out here like this, and this one out here like this. And just because we can, I'm going to take this one out here like that, and that one over there like that. And I'm going to take that one, I don't like that, there. Okay, so I've made this bigger, I've changed the measurement. I can also come over here to this, and I can say, well, the paving thickness now needs to be 4 inches, and the base depth is 8. The engineer changed his mind. I could also change WBS information as well. So I can change measurement and spec or detail information. I can change it wherever I want. I've just changed one measurement just in the interest of keeping things moving along here today, but you could change whatever you want, wherever you want it in the plan set. When you're done, you come here to the view button and bring bridge back up again. Bridge comes up, and here in our resource list, you can see I've got these icons here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell Bridge to refresh this assignment list. So I'm going to click this, and you can see that all of these icons are the same except for this one up here at the top. It's got this pencil in it. This is a changed assignment. The rest of these are unchanged. I'm going to filter those out just because we're just working with this one. So here's the one that changed. Here it is here in the assembly window. You can see that the depth went from 2 to 4 and the base depth went from 6 to 8, and the area changed from 148 to 150, almost 153,000. What I can do is I can say, you know what, apply those changes. I can also, well, let's do this. Dash Rev 1. I can do that, and I can, when I click this button here, apply the changes, watch the quantities down here at the bottom. And click this, these changed, and I can now send that to the estimate. So again, I didn't have to no cut, copy, paste. I just made the changes and passed them to the estimate. I'm going to go to the estimate. Close bridge. Okay. And here is my here's my assembly. There's the changed number. And I can now come in here. Let's do this. Review the assembly. And I've got, now remember I had 1 pass in here. Now I've got 3 passes. If I come in here and view the pass audit, here's the original pass with 148,000 square feet. Here's the pass number 2 where the system automatically backed that out. So -1 where it took all those out. And here's pass 3 with the new area and depth of the paving and base. So it's kept the track of that. This is a true audit. I can't change it. It's a great record of all the different changes that have been made for during this estimate process. Okay, I'm going to close that. So here, that is the two-way data flow from Sage Estimating back to the takeoff source. And it works with any takeoff source. If I'd had part of this as if I'd done some takeoff with a model, a 3D model and some takeoff with a 2D plan set, the bridge is smart enough to know where that came from and take you to the source. And so you can, it'll do that for you. You'd probably do this a little bit differently in that you would have, you'd create another estimate. And so as you're making changes, you'd have a record of different estimates that are snapshots of your different stages of estimating as you've worked through the project. I didn't do that for the sake of time here today, but you could do it that way. All right, so that's basically what I wanted to show you today. Thanks for your time, appreciate it, and we'll hope to talk to you in the future.